alaikum. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulul Kareem. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to a fantastic lineup of Easy Talk with me, Captain Caveman, and...
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is Darun Mac.
Assalamu alaikum. And Assalamu alaikum. This is Abdul. I don't have a nickname like they do, but I'm sticking to Abdul at the moment until a nickname is found.
We've got a nickname for you. You're Abdul the Grey.
Okay, Abdul the Grey. All right, yeah.
That is your name. Until it goes white, you're going to be Abdul the Grey, okay?
MashaAllah. Very good.
Brothers and sisters, share the link. Let people know we're live. As is tradition with Easy Talk, let's start off with our favorite nasheed. Here it comes.
It's the
الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما والحور في الجنات تنتظر والحور في الجنات تنتظر والطفل يرسي في العلا مجدا ومجدهم يهوي ويندثر والطفل يرسي في العلا مجدا ومجدهم يهوي ويندثر لا تعجبوا فالطفل معجزة لا تعجبوا أطفالنا كبروا لا تعجبوا أطفالنا كبروا الأرض والشطآن والبحر في غزة الشماء تستعير والشعب يمضي للمنى قدما
Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to come back in. Alhamdulillah, hopefully this week the broadcast will be a lot more smoother. I'm sorry about my lighting, but you know, I do live in a cave, so that's my excuse. So hopefully the broadcast will be a lot smoother. The interaction will be a lot better. As you know how Easy Talk works, we love to hear from you. So that means text us. By that, I mean comment. But more importantly, we've managed to solve the problem of the phones. Well, one problem, that is we have got a phone line. So, Kalam.
Yes. The number is 0208 12340. No, hang on. Oops. Let's start again. 0208 1234507.
Launch off.
Okay. So, brothers and sisters, if you guys want to comment, if you want us to talk about something or comment about something, I've got a few rants that I'm probably going to come up with at some time. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a pretty awful and ugly week.
Ugly? Why ugly? What's happening?
Didn't get it. I'll try that again. As far as I'm concerned, it's been a pretty...
Oh, God. Yes. That was pretty awful if I must say so myself.
300,000, 493, 64,000 million times.
Well, actually, it's right now quite late because it's getting on to be 10 past 7 past 7 past 600. No, but we shouldn't laugh,
anyway,
to be honest.
Why not?
Tell us what you want to talk about, and of course we want to hear from you. So you can call in. So at any time, feel free to call us. So how's your week been since last week? Abdul, what have you been up to?
Well, the usual stuff, stuck at home basically, and mostly spending a lot of time with my son, the 5-year-old one. He won't let go of me, so it is good in that sense. Spending a lot of time with him. I've done my first cooking session, so learned how to cook a meal. Today I took my boy out for his exercise.
What did you cook, Abdul? What did you cook?
Well, it was like
what did it look like? Yeah.
It was good. It was dal, cooked dal.
Oh, dal.
Yeah, cooked dal.
How did you cook that then, Abdul?
Well, what I did is I got the dal, and I washed it, and then what I did is I put it in water and I put the fire underneath and I cooked it.
Yeah, but how? Like, because you did it all by yourself and everything, innit? So like.
No, I got help. I got help.
You got help. Yeah.
I got instructions. Yeah. Then I did what do you call it? Meat pulao. Okay, so I did.
Mashallah, Abdul, man, what's all this?
I know, it's shocking, isn't it?
Hidden talents. Where you been hiding all this talent?
I'm still learning, so I watch all these cooking programs on TV. Can't get away from it. Now I thought, well, why not start something?
Okay, let me just actually say something. So you know how I was really upset with our weatherman last week.
Yeah.
Well, he's done a peace offering, and I want to ask the Darun listeners, what kind of dessert would it take for the caveman to forgive the weatherman for not turning up last week? What kind of dessert? Put it in your comments, and let's see if you are true loyal listeners.
Well, I'd like to know why he didn't turn up in the first place.
Eh?
Why didn't he turn up in the first place? What's his excuse?
I don't know, bro. I'm just a little bit satisfied at the moment. So asking me to actually have a go at the guy isn't going to work today.
No. And we're still waiting on our first caller, 0208 1234 507. It's not a prank number, by the way, guys. It's an actually genuine number, 0208 1234 507. That's the number to call. You can speak to us directly. We get lots of engagement on the WhatsApp. Shall we speak? Shall I go through some of the messages, Azadbai?
Yeah, WhatsApp. What you mean the Facebook? It's all the same. It's like 375,223. I mean, what's the difference? Let's just pretend we're doing a radio show. What's the text? Read out some text messages.
Before you say the text, I'm the one who's qualified dyslexia. Yeah, so. I hold that record at the moment.
You're qualified dyslexia, yeah?
Yeah, I'm qualified.
It took a test for it.
Okay. Farid is saying Abdul Bai is not the grey one, he's the silver fox. We've got Shah Yusuf and Shah Jahan watching. Shuli K is watching. Fakrul Amin is watching. Shah Jahan's asking people to start sharing. Atiko Khan is watching. Shahada Begum is watching. Murad Rahman is watching. Al Maruf Abdullah is watching. Ali Ahmed is saying, Abdul Bai, tell us about how lockdown is affecting the charity sector. Are donations down or higher? Naz is watching. Abu Sarah is watching. Jilu Mia Wahid's watching. Tanya is saying, is there a YouTube account coming up in regards to the brothers cooking? Are you going to create a YouTube page, Abdul, with your cooking stuff?
Well, listen. We have someone who got the dessert right. We have loyal viewers and listeners. MashaAllah. Faith Dole, I don't know how you would say that. Caramel tart, you know that. With custard as well. He brought custard with it as well. MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
You're forgiving for this week, so I don't know if I'll still be this forgiving next week, weatherman. But in terms of the question, let's just actually discuss that. How long has it been? Like, it's been 4 weeks, 5 weeks now. 5 weeks. A lot of people, they're not going to work. It's having a financial impact. So charity work. I know the masajids, they're not getting their regular collection. No, so that's a down on the income. But I suppose at the same time, they're not utilizing all of the utilities, but there's still salaries and things like that perhaps to pay. So how's it been, Abdul, from the charity you're with?
Well, I was in shock first because obviously everyone had to. We had to re-strategize and kind of think of maintaining whatever we could do. financially, obviously, all the planning we did, Abu Kalam would probably able to confirm that. And it's good to see all 3-4 of us come from a kind of a sectors that are leading at the moment. The impact is immense, because all the planning we've done for Ramadan is kind of come to an end. We can't do anything. No mosque collection, no street collections, no community engagement in fundraising, everything, because everyone is now thinking about themselves, the lockdown. Very difficult to run and function the charity organization itself. So a lot of charity organizations probably closed down. Some people might be working from home, but then again, is what can you do from home? Yeah. So I think what's happening is a lot of the charities had to move over to digital, go online and things like that. How much money they're going to be able to pull, that's something the organization is going to have to analyze on that. But I can tell you for a fact it's going to have immense impact on the overseas programs, because while coronavirus is hitting the people who actually feed and support all those vulnerable, needy people around the world, because we're thinking about ourselves now, whatever we used to be doing with our charitable means, because that's come to a stop now, it's definitely going to have an impact. I know it's going to have an impact in some of our programs as well, in Syria, in Gaza, places like that, where we have been raising money. But we are still going to do our best to raise those money. The problem is it's very difficult to approach people in these circumstances, because I know for a fact a lot of people have lost their jobs. Some people who've got businesses, they had to close their businesses down. They're not generating incomes. I spoke to some people I know, and they said, look, Abdul, look, I've lost my job now. I'm thinking about. So yeah, there's all these kind of issues around, but I still. But
saying all that, I mean, we haven't hit Ramadan yet, and I'm kind of quite optimistic. So as you know, obviously with the death toll passing 10,000, subhanAllah, it's a big number. There is a huge strain on burials, Muslim burials.
That's
yes,
right.
I'm not going to get into the politics, though. I will have a rant afterwards about certain people. But
you should. You should have some rants.
I will. The need for extra capacity in burials is huge. There's a lot of Muslims, people from ethnic minority background. A lot of them are passing away. So East London Mosque also wanted to organize and help and everything else, and they're going to open up a mortuary. They're going to do the ghusl, help with Eternal Gardens and everything else, just so to ease the kind of bottleneck, as it were. And they put a call out for donations. Alhamdulillah, they achieved that within a week. So I think people are giving, and I think they will give.
Thing is, the Muslim community, sorry to interrupt, Azerbaijan, the Muslim community never follows type in terms of charitable giving. It's the most generous community out there. In Ramadan, before the coronavirus, it was something like £37 per second that was being donated by the Muslim community just in the UK alone. Millions and millions of pounds is donated by Muslims. Because why is that? Because
sorry, Kalam, let me pause you, because we have got our first caller of the evening, I think.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, was that the sound that was making?
Oh, did you hear it? I didn't hear no sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard
so
it.
next time you hear the sound, tell us.
Okay.
Right, let's go to our caller.
Assalamualaikum,
caller.
Walaikum salam, rahmatullah. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
Who are you and where are you calling from?
It's Fareed and I'm calling from Whitechapel.
MashaAllah, downtown Whitechapel.
What's the
prime rates looking like in Whitechapel, Fareed?
To support our brothers. You know what? It's something good that you're doing, especially in this time where everyone's locked up. We needed to have something where people can be a bit lighthearted, can get rid of all the pressure and the tension, have a bit of laugh, at the same time take a few serious points from the discussions, and it's only fair that we support it. So although I'm a bit busy, but I thought I'll watch it just to support you guys.
Oh, fantastic!
But anyway,
that's the
I got a request. Azadbai, since I'm the first guy here, I think I have a request and it needs to be fulfilled.
We started with the request already. Go on.
Yeah. Now I think Kalamba should sing us a Liverpool song at the end.
Oh yes,
yeah.
That's not even a request, mate. That's a little. That's a reward.
He does it with passion, you know what I mean? He gets like us Liverpool fans at home. We get like really happy when we see him singing. He sings with a lot of passion. It's a shame you can't recite like the thing, but you know.
MashaAllah. We'll do that. We'll do that for you.
Farid, before you go, Jazakallah for calling in. MashaAllah, I know you're always at the forefront of doing something and helping and promoting, supporting. Very quickly, have you watched that film that's actually hit the storm now in the Muslim communities? I think quite widely as well. Yeah, Miracle in Cell 7.
You know what? That's on my watch list tonight.
It's in a watch list. Okay, well,
if you're gonna be watching it, make sure you have lots and lots of tissue next to you because it's gonna make you.
No,
cry.
don't give it away. Why are you giving it away for?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Thank you, Farid, for your call. Kalam, let's do some messages. Jazakallah khair, Farid. Let's do some messages.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely sing the Liverpool song. So Shuli K. Powen is saying, I'm assuming this will be carrying on into Ramadan. Faith Diol is saying lol. He's finding it funny. Rosina Khatoon is saying wow.
Because you didn't read the message before because she was the one who got it right and she went yay.
Oh,
you're not following the conversation.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Those of you who listen to our show, you know how many times I've fired this text, man.
Time has gone by, but the skill set hasn't improved. hasn't really improved. All right, technology has advanced, but the reading of the text message is no longer any better than it was before. All right, Mohammed Hussein is saying big up to Onik from the NHS front line. So Onik is being bigged up by Adil as well. Sultana Begum is watching, Muradur Rahman is watching, Nur Humayun is watching, Azad Bhai is watching, Rafiq Abu Safiya is watching.
I'm watching, of course I'm watching.
Yep, everybody's bigging up Onik. Farid's got a big up for calling. Said Toti Lok is watching. Guys, please keep sharing and watching. Jahangir Muhammad is watching. We've got 74 viewers. We need to try and get to 100.
We need to hit 100 because we want to know that in Ramadan we can rely on an average number.
Okay. Well, we've got a challenge here because on my phone I've got brother Akhtar Khan who's messaged me and said this is clashing with 10 o'clock news. Yeah, so this better be good.
Oh, this you cannot compare us to boring state propaganda machinery that is like the BBC. Do you get it? Please don't even go there. Listen, my rant about, there's some people, I don't know what is wrong with these people, right? And I'm not gonna name the person, but I was that close. I really lost it. They have this huge fear and trauma. I mean, obviously it's a big thing that we're going through, but people need to be rational. People need to be logical. People need to be calm. So because of this big fear that they have, they don't want anyone to have ghusl. Do you get it? They want Muslims to be buried without ghusl because as far as they're concerned, it's too dangerous. Of course, the World Health Organization doesn't think that. The European health organizations don't think that. Our own health organizations don't think that. The experts don't think that. But these people, they think that because they think they know better. But what they don't appreciate is they're coming from fear. But what this person did is use someone tweeted how their loved one, an elderly person, went to a funeral. Okay, listen carefully. The person went to a funeral mixed with other people. Okay, and then caught the virus and passed away. Okay, and they used that example to say this is why ghusl should not be done. How is going to a funeral the same as giving ghusl? When you go to the funeral, you're interacting with live people who can pass the virus on. When you're doing ghusl, the passing off from the body is low. The risk is low. Plus, the people that are doing the ghusl are wearing protective equipment. Plus, they're not doing the normal ghusl like, when they would wash with soap and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, it's so safe, but there are these people who are spreading these panic and fear. I can't stand these people. Wallahi, in this time where a lot of people are afraid and everything else, these people should know better, and they pass themselves off as people of knowledge as well. This is sickening.
Okay, brother.
Okay, if I see it again, I'm gonna name these people.
Well, brother, just
I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest.
Good.
That rat flew because I don't know.
That's because you're a bit low down today. That's probably why I went.
Yeah, I don't know. But the thing is that
my ignorance, due to my ignorance, so if we don't wash the body, is that still okay though?
Only in extreme circumstances.
Yeah, but you know what? This is like
No, wait, Callum. You know, like,
This is
you
an
know, if you're about to
exceptional
die,
circumstance, isn't it?
if you're about to die, you can drink alcohol if you're going to die of thirst. Do you understand that, Abdul?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the same. So yeah, there are always exceptions, but you don't go for the exception first, do you?
No,
say
no,
you want
you
to
don't. No,
do
you
wudu,
don't. No, you don't. But
want to do
you got.
wudu and you don't see any water around you, meaning in the room that you're in. Does that mean you don't go to the bathroom to find the tap? So you do the tayammum.
Makes sense.
No,
All right,
but,
Callum, let's see what you have to say then. Callum,
no,
go on, let's see what you have
all,
to say.
all I'm saying is, look, these are exceptional times. It's not like every day that the world is confronted by a pandemic that is claiming thousands and thousands of lives per day. Number one. Number two, the Muslim Ummah, alhamdulillah, we're guided by scholarship, we're guided by consensus, we're guided by people who are ulama. And when we don't know, we go to our ulama, and if they give us a solution to a problem,
but those ulama, Kalam, sorry, those ulama also have to know the context. Okay?
Oh yeah, of course they have to be there.
Yeah. If you're medically ill, you don't go to the ulama, do you? You go to the doctor. So let's put everything in context. Anyway, listen, Turgut Alp is asking, do we watch Ertugrul?
Hey wallah.
Hey wallah. Of course we do. We're even on Osman. The Osman series is not as good as
I've got the claim of watching it before most people did, right? Many years ago, and people took the mickey out of me saying, why are you watching Turkish films for, Then 2 years later, everyone started watching it.
Yeah, but Abdul, that's why we call you the Abdul the Grey, isn't it? Because you're too far ahead of people, bro. Okay, Kalam, I think that you need to read some messages, a lot of messages
We are going to read some messages. So in Ramadan, Sab's records in Ramadan, the viewership will get better. Shahjahan Abu Talha is saying, can I give a big shout out to my sister Bushra Khatun, who's a nurse in the cardiac and respiratory ward. So big up to her. Shah Hussein is saying, what was the name of that film? The name of the film is Miracle on Cell Number 7. Jahara Begum is watching. Ruhaili Uddin is watching. Karen Elliott is watching. And she's saying, she agrees with me. She's saying, you definitely need tissues. Mebs Rahman is saying, big up to my youngest niece, Onika, again, for working in the National Health Service. Ali Oz is saying, looks like all the Stepney lads are coming through. Salahuddin Ahmed is watching.
Stepney, massive.
Is watching. Well done, Anika. Everybody's bigging up Anika. That's good. Anwar Hussein is saying the whole of Stepney has turned up.
Wow, mashallah.
Big up to the balcony crew. Yes, we've got the crews coming out, the balcony crew. Big up to them. So Hayla Nadim is saying, brothers, I get what you're saying about tayammum ghusl, like dust over the body bag. I saw a letter being shared by the Gardens of Peace saying their staff have contracted some of the diseases. Now, whether it was from the deceased or the family who attended was not clarified. So, look, all I'm saying is I get Azad Bai's rant, but I also reckon this is not a medical issue. This is a fiqh issue. When somebody dies...
No, it's not a fiqh issue.
It is.
No, it's not. You can't bring in the fiqh if the medical science doesn't give it to you. You can't use... No. The science is saying it's low risk, Kalam. It is low risk.
So why
you have a bigger risk when you go out to do your shopping? You are at greater risk.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
So it's not a fiqh thing. Please stop misrepresenting. This is
a fiqh thing.
It's not. It's not. The first thing is the facts.
First and foremost is a fiqh thing.
Okay, Azad, you made it very clear. I want to hear some facts, Kalam. Give me some facts, Kalam.
Anyway. Listen, bro, before you go into your facts and everything else, I think there's people suggesting there's some things that we need to talk about, okay? And we will talk about, but this is easy talk, okay? And we have to get into the mood a little bit as well. Now, we're going to play a nasheed, and in the comment section, I want you to put the name down. This nasheed was one of the most played nasheeds. It should be coming on your screen or hearing.
I'm going to have my say when we come back, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, you will.
I want to hear the facts.
Make a note, Kalam. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm writing now. I'm writing away. I'm doing an essay.
Google it.
My death are all for you, none but you, only you. my death are all for you. None but you, only you. None but you, only you. Ya Allah.
Every second I live, every penny I give is just for you. Every breath I breathe, every trace I leave is just for you. Every second I live, every penny I give is just for you. Every breath I breathe, every trace I leave is just for you.
My prayers, my breath, my life, and my death are all for you. My prayers, my breath, my life, and my death are all for you. None but you, only you. None but you, only you. Ya Allah.
In all my fears, in all my tears, I'm calling you. In all my shame, in all my pain, I'm calling you. In all my fears, in all my tears, I'm calling you.
Sorry, we're gonna come in. Let's stop the nasheed there because I've just read a comment, right, from Suhaila. Says the camera changes like a Desi wedding movie. Oh my days. Yeah. Well, what can we say? It is an improvement, though, right? It is an improvement. Okay, Kalam, I did stop you.
Oh yeah,
All
yeah,
yours. I'm not gonna even interrupt you at all.
yeah, you did stop me.
Before you say Kalam, yeah, you gotta make me understand this. I need to understand this because I know this debate is happening.
So when a Muslim dies, they need to be buried. They can't be cremated. They need to be buried. Cremation is not allowed, right?
Okay,
if you
fast
can't
track.
bury-
Sorry. Sorry,
if
bro.
you can't bury them,
Sorry. Some people went out fatwa shopping to get from ulama that you can do cremation as well, by the way. These are the same people who are panicking now for nonsense reasons. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, you've broken your promise straight away, man.
Yeah, it was a promise, on easy.
Oh, no, it's one of those.
What do
Pretty,
you
it's one of those pretty. It's one of those pretty promises, isn't it?
Okay, go on.
It's your fault, bro. Pretty awful.
Continue, Kalam.
Yeah. So like when somebody dies, you have to bury them. Before you bury them, you have to give them a ghusl. You have to put them in their coffin, right? This is the Islamic rites of burial. Now the issue here is when somebody dies of coronavirus, are they still contagious when they're dead? That's the science. And if the science says that they're not contagious, if the science is emphatic that the contamination or the virus spreading is minimal, then there's no excuses. People are to be washed. However, if the science is still not clear and people are based on the ambiguity of the science, there's an argument that, why risk it when Islam has these dispensations, that these rukhsah, which means dispensations, at these times. We don't know how this virus is behaving. We don't know how this virus is spreading. What we do know is in South Korea, there's reports of people who had the virus, were contagious, and then they recovered, and now they're getting it again.
Yeah,
why are they getting
sorry. So
the issue
there's a lot of
1 second, 10 seconds. So the issue is we don't know how this virus is behaving, and therefore ulama are giving opinions based on that. So I think we need to be a bit easy on them because it is an unknown.
So Kalam, there's a lot of misinformation you've been given, and this is part of the problem. Okay, so the first thing is, yes, the strain of this virus is new, but it is part of the SARS coronavirus. Yeah, it is still part of that. Okay, they know.
But it's a new virus.
It's this particular strain.
It's flu. But it's a new. It's not flu.
It's flu. It acts like flu, and it's got
it does not act like. No. That's wrong. You're spreading the misinformation.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish.
It does not act like flu.
Okay, one at a time.
So the way it contaminates people, okay, it contaminates through droplets and everything else. Yes, there is some aerosol, but it's not an airborne contagious disease. Okay, it is through droplets. It's not incorrect. That is
it survives in the air for 12 hours.
No, it does not survive in the air for 12 hours. Where the heck? Go on, tell me which doctor said that.
It's in the science.
Which doctor said that? It's not in the
can't tell you the name of
No,
the
you can't
doctor.
push man, because I'll tell you who the scientist is. His name is I nearly said it. His name is Bondu from the Bari. You know, who's staying in the sleeping in the gari. Yeah.
No, brother. This is real doctor is saying this.
Doctor. Say the
doctor.
doctor.
It's a GP doctor, brother. You are arguing.
Right. Exactly. This is it. So a GP is telling you
No,
that.
it's actually research.
A doctor no, there isn't. A doctor is telling you that, but the experts are not telling you that. But anyway, listen. The point is, okay.
Which experts? Is this who?
Who?
World Health Organization,
That's
or is it the British? Is it the British medical advisor who's advising the government? See, the experts My point is the experts are divided. They don't have a consensual
Listen,
position.
One at a time. Yeah, I need to understand this.
Okay, listen, we're not going to get through this, right? Because
well, one at a time. Yeah, you make a good point.
You've got to, if you're going by, like when you go to ulama, you'll get some ulama that say, you can do X, Y, and Z. We know some of these people, Kalam, that come up with dodgy fatwa, okay? But these are not the ulama that you're going to rely on. You're going to go to the established ones, that have years of experience that are respectable. So the only respectable organization in this whole planet is WHO, because they're the ones who do this for a living and have been doing this for a living.
Who's who?
World Health Organization.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So then after that, you have the European version of that who are saying the same thing. And then after that, you have your national one. Here in the UK, they're saying the same thing. Okay? Public Health England is saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But you're going to ignore all of that because you know why? Because a doctor who's working or a GP who's working is telling you this.
It's not a GP Azadbai. It's not. Look, we agree.
No, okay. Until you show me which researcher, doctor, expert said the coronavirus, COVID-19, survives in the air for 12 hours, I'm not going to accept anything from you.
Okay, okay, 12 hours.
I know you Googled that so much. I was ranting to give
you have to Google. You have to Google.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, you do have to Google.
Let's get some facts here. So, Kalam, this is your turn now.
Yes.
Have you found it?
No. What's the question?
He's not going to find it. It doesn't exist.
No, it does. It does. Look.
Andrew, type in 12-hour coronavirus survives in the air.
Okay, listen. This is about life and death. It's not a laughing matter. What we do agree on is that you need to go to legitimate scholarship, and that's what I said right at the beginning. You don't go to people who are not recognized by the scholars as scholars. So everybody knows that. Our viewers know that. You can't go to the man who's dishing out fatwa.
Well, Abu Kalam,
that's not how it's done. So number one.
Simple people like us, you need to tell us who these scholars are. I mean, you're both saying scholars.
No. That's
let's not go into the scholars. I'm talking about the experts.
That's lazy. Now, if you go to Sky News, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's Rupert Murdoch.
My God.
Maybe
experts, please.
We don't. If you go to Sky News, maybe we don't believe Sky News and Rupert Murdoch, all that. But Sky News has an article where experts from.
Okay, we've got a call now.
Saved by the bell.
Yeah,
let's take the caller and we come back to.
Can you see that, people? Don't listen.
Okay. Caller, can you just hold on 1 second? Kalam, it's so hilarious. That article does not say 12 hours. But anyway, let's go.
12 hours, but it
said 12 hours.
All right, let's go to the caller then. Let's go caller.
That shows that it lasts longer, and then other people are saying 12 hours. Yeah.
Let's go to the caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Your name and where you're calling from. I think the caller's left us.
They'll call back.
Okay, call back, caller. Kalam, I said to you right at the beginning, right? I know there's a report. I read that report as well that says it stays airborne for what? For a little bit longer, so maybe a minute or two. Okay,
no, it's not a minute or two.
It is a minute or two. Go on, Kalam, read it. I've read it. I've read the report you're talking about, Kalam. Okay, that's number one. Number two, that's from a living person. You know what it is? You know when I'm talking, when I cough, when I sneeze, it's that. A dead person cannot do that. Do you understand that? We do not. Okay, caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Hello?
Okay,
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Where are you calling from, sis?
I'm calling from London.
Right, go for it. If you want to say your name, feel free to do so. The mic is yours.
Wa alaikum salam. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
But I don't know how I can.
Can you not hear us? Is this the thing like you're watching and talking to us?
Oh, yeah. That's what's happening. Sorry, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, I can't even make it. Okay, well, basically, I want to say that, all this issue about the Public Health England and their advice, and I've had personal experience with it. I work in a secondary school, and my role is to do with trips. I have no idea if you can hear me or not, but I'm just going to go on now, yeah? Their advice is so late that because of their lack of timely advice, I ended up getting it because we had trips. We had trips going out from UK, and they were not giving the timely advice, which meant that the trips were able to go out, and then they came back, and then they maybe had it or something, and then obviously when we met our colleagues back, etc., then obviously I got it, yeah. So I've had the symptoms, etc. So for the last 2.5 weeks, I have been in self-isolation. Alhamdulillah, like kind of done on my own, like measures, etc. Because I was following it from the very, very beginning, and I understood what it was like, and it was a respiratory condition. So I took the measures whichever I knew from all that personal experience. So alhamdulillah, I'm here. But this takes me to the other concern about the wusuls and the burial. Because at one point, obviously, I didn't know whether I was going to survive, and I still don't know. It's like Allahu Alam, right? But I think there's a personal responsibility on people as well that we can actually voice up and say that, what, I wouldn't want to put anybody else at a risk, right? And I went through this. I took my nose piercing out. I took me half an hour. I made sure, just in case that if I went to the hospital and I didn't come back, and I didn't want anybody to be having to put their life at risk. I think we're not actually clocking on to that aspect. That do we want to have somebody else put themselves at risk? And I don't think anybody will. No Muslim will want to make anybody else be in that position where they have to decide or they have to doubt and be at risk of giving a sister or a brother or ghusl and like kind of fulfilling their last right, and then possibly it affects them. Because honestly, Public Health England and all of them, they don't have a clue. None of them have a clue. I have followed it since probably in late February, when it was starting to be in North Italy, because of the role that I'm doing. And the advice comes here 3-4 weeks later. We can't afford to have 3-4 weeks later advice coming from Public Health England saying that
But sister, sorry, let me just stop you there. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, this government and the response from Public Health England and others has been shambolic. Okay, Public Health England get blame secondary, but the government take it square on the chin. But sister, let me just stop you there. The advice, however, from the World Health Organization about this in January, in December, in February, in March, has been consistently the same. I'm talking about specifically that the contagion does not spread through the skin, right? So a dead person cannot spread it. It's through droplets. Respiratory droplets. So it's like when you're talking, because a bit of spit comes out when you're talking, it's saliva. That is the way it spreads. So we gotta be I totally accept your experience. I'm not denying that. You gotta accept the science on this.
Azad bhai, can I just interject here as well?
Fine. Obviously, that's the aspect I haven't seen, but I'm just saying that for me, as a person who's had it, and in a sense, and went through the whole thought process of what's got to be happening. It is something that we can actually say that, if there is doubt, Islam does say that there is doubt, leave it out. Then if it's a martyr, if we're the shaheed, then obviously it doesn't matter if they don't have the ghusl. It doesn't matter if they don't.
It's not the same shaheed. No, it's and that's another technical thing. Let me just clarify. Yes, it's as if you have died like shaheed, but it is not the same as the shaheed who dies in battle. It's not the same. Where ghusl is not required. But Jazakallah khair, sister. I think I accept your point. And thank you for the call. Very valuable.
My question is,
let me stop you, because You know, we're doing a disservice to our text people.
Yeah.
So we're going to read some messages out. I know this is a hot thing. We can come back to it, but let's do some text because it's not fair.
All right. There's loads of text. Keep on texting people because I'm going to read them all out. Zubaida Chow is saying, definitely, Abdullah, you are a trendsetter. Suhail Nadim is saying, it's the best entertainment in this climate distraction, but always remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just love the show, I think. Love the constant du'as in Islamic terms. I don't know. The thing is, I do understand why the caveman is upset, because right now we have a lot of conflicting views and it's showing our weakness as an ummah. But at the same time, alhamdulillah, there are a lot of people that are still performing the ghusl. Salahuddin is saying, assalamu alaikum, agree medical issues, but they don't seem to have a clue about the virus anyway. Dilwar is watching, Ashik is watching, Samina's watching, Habiba's watching. Sunnah Medic is saying, we got loads in stock. I don't know what he's talking about. We got loads in stock.
People are looking for pardon, bro. Have you got any, by the way?
Me? No, man. My mum is having like a frantic time about pan. Don't even go there, bro.
I think it's not just your mum, bro. I think it's the whole Bengali community at the moment.
Look, for those who are pan lovers, has the pan prices gone up as well?
Abdul Bhai, this is my mum, this is my mum. Hey, Abul Kalam, fast phone and then she calls my brother, hey, Andreni. Who does it sound like? Sounds like Al from Stepney, innit?
It is. You know what? So, someone told me they bought, I think, 10 leaves of pan for, I think it's £2 or £3 or something like that. It's silly. I don't think anyone's got any left anyway.
Right, Shunumi is saying our debate seems to be like a wrestling match. No, it's always good banter. It's always for the good, and it's done with a lot of love and respect. Turn your radio down, please. Lettuce is my rabbit food. Says somebody.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? You're doing such a disservice. Turn your radio down, please. Right? You should have paused there and laughed. Do you know why they wrote that?
Oh yeah. I was just trying to I was just trying to be kind to the WhatsApp text, the Facebook guy.
How's that being kind? Like, you're missing the joke.
There is no radio, get me. What radio?
It's not that. What did we used to say to the listeners when they phone in? And then we go, hello, can you hear us? Now there's an echo. I can't hear you because you're listening to the radio. Can you stop listening to the radio and talk to us? So it's the same thing that happened here. All right,
somebody's saying, Dylan Ali is saying, they say to stay home because you're protected behind closed doors. But when you're in the garden, to be honest, game over. Melissa Miriam is watching, Kashim is watching, Mac the Wack is watching. A lot of the old Cannon Street, Backstreet Boys are on. I can see, alhamdulillah, so welcome to the show, guys. Abdullah, my question to you is very quickly going back. If that's the case, that when you're dead, there's no coronavirus, you're safe. Why are people not? Why is there only 10 people allowed, and why can't you go near the
dead body?
No, why can't you go near the dead body?
Okay, there's two separate things. There's two separate things. Okay. In the WHO and the European one, they both say viewing the body is absolutely fine. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, but the number of people at the funeral, you have to restrict it. Why? Because we're doing social distancing.
Yes, I understand that.
That's the only reason. Okay, there is no other reason. No. So it's about living people, not congregating and coming together.
Oh, I get that. But what about the dead burial? They're restricting people from burying the dead. That's what they're doing.
They're not restricting. Who's restricting? They're restricting the live people.
Dilwar Hussein is saying, why are funeral services not dealing with COVID-19 related deaths then? If it's not stages from a dead person.
No, you know what? They are, but some, exactly like the debate we're having here, some have fallen for that argument. Okay, there are. I'm not going to name.
Some are not convinced. Some are.
I'm not going to name I'm not going to name the ones that don't do it. I know who they are, but Gardens of Peace does it. Eternal Gardens does it with East London Mosque and others. Okay, most of the ones up north are doing it. Initially, people got confused with the messaging, but alhamdulillah, I'm so glad to see and say that people are doing it. The second thing is, which the sister raised, which is a very important point that she made, which is we shouldn't put other people in danger, and that's a very noble thing to do. Okay, absolutely. But we should do these things with full information. So yes, sister, you shouldn't put anyone else in danger and everything else, right? But we know if you have the virus is effective and harms people who already have pre-existing conditions and are of a certain age. Of course, there's an exception to this rule. Okay, we're not going to go talk about the exception. And as long as you're wearing protective clothing, okay, there isn't a risk of you being contaminated by it. So, alhamdulillah, there are, East London Mosque did a call out for volunteers, and alhamdulillah, within like one day, there was over 50 volunteers. Like, alhamdulillah. So there are people.
Hold your thought, brother. We need to do these takbirs because like we've hit the 100 barrier. Yeah. So Nare takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Nare takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Nare takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Abdul, what's happening?
No, listen,
Abdul, you know what it is?
Are you scared, brother? Are you scared?
Abdul's scared.
My neighbour's getting scared.
What's happening, bruv?
My neighbours are getting scared.
Listen, Abdul.
Yeah, go on.
They've done all the stories on us, bruv. What are they going to write about us now? Come on.
I said Allahu Akbar. Yeah,
you didn't.
Kids sleeping upstairs.
Did you say Allahu Akbar?
Yeah, I didn't hear nothing, brother. I didn't hear a word.
Brothers and sisters, we don't want to get stuck in that conversation. There is other things we want to talk about, and we want to keep it a little bit.
No, but I've got to have my say. You two had your say. I've got to have my say, innit?
Oh my God, you had the first say.
No, because I was new to it. I'm trying to understand this, right? So first of all, what I want to say, is I get the sister's point. She doesn't want to put people at risk. We have to take our personal responsibility, and that's our own personal hygiene. Because even today, Brother Sufi, a well-known brother from Cannon Street area, a lot of us know, he passed away. Got a message on social media, passing away. So we're getting all this information come, people passing away, young, old, middle-aged, older people. So I think we should be psychologically in a state of preparedness here, because if we fall ill, if we are carrying the virus and something goes wrong, then we have that first responsibility of being pure and whatever we have to do. Yeah, that's a personal one. Yeah. The other thing I can understand from Brother Azad is saying is that, look, if the evidence isn't there, the risk is very low. I had one comment that said that whatever risk you have, even if it's 1%, it's a risk. But in measuring those risks, we have to look at what is best for us. And at the moment, I agree that we haven't looked at all the best alternatives, because I remember the days when we used to wash our cars with just tap water with a bucket, and then we used to use the sponge and that. Yeah, now we've got other forms of washing. No,
pay attention. Yeah, this is going somewhere. Don't.
You know what? I had to remind myself people can see me, so I had to keep a straight face.
Listen, stop laughing. Listen. There's a point here. Come on.
Look, I'm giving it from a very simplistic. You're a scholar and academic. Yeah, I need to simplify it. Yeah, okay. So now, look, there's probably other methods of actually doing the ghusl, that I think personally we haven't explored, and that needs to be explored, and I'm sure there's many different ways you can do it where you don't harm the people who are doing the ghusl, and also it doesn't become a big issue. I think we have moved too fast into the safety side of things, but yes, a risk could be a risk. And most people are going to judge this on emotion rather than the facts.
Those people that are, know the link of the show, please can you post it on the comment section, because some people are asking what's the link so they can share it. So please do that. Just quickly go through some of the messages.
This one is quite good. Naima is saying the only way you can contract COVID-19, and I believe she's from the medical profession, the only way you can contract COVID-19 from the dead is if you were to touch their bodily fluids and then touch your face.
Exactly.
So this is why you need the PPE.
Exactly. Two passages. Anyway, Turgut Alp is asking, what is this pun business all about? Rabbi Ali, I think, has started a trend saying we're going through a pandemic.
All right, we've got Asif Malik watching. So welcome to the show, brother Asif, a colleague of ours from the charity section. We've got Ibrahim Atubi also watching, from a very, very beloved brother from the charity section. I've got my friend and my longtime companion, Muj Ahmed, watching. He's actually also recovered from the virus as well quite recently, and I pray Allah keeps him well. We've got Bodru Amin sharing a link to a car that he wants to sell. No, it's our show actually, not a car that he wants to sell. we've got.
Oh, by the
we've
way,
got- we've got-
Kalam,
Go
yeah,
on.
you're definitely doing it in Ramadan because we passed the 100 mark.
Oh yeah, mashallah, tabarakallah.
Mashallah,
I said 150 today though, but you know.
No, you
Right,
did
let me get the number. Let me give out the number. It's 0208 1234
Okay,
That's
if
the
you
number.
remember that, inshallah, 0208 1234 Okay, even I can memorize that. All right, Kalam, I think it's been quite heated again. I think we could do with a little bit of a break. And I think it's important to remind people of the small deeds that we can do. So why don't we play a nasheed about the small deeds? It should be ready, inshallah. As soon as it's ready, it's going to come on, which is going to be any second now. And I'm waffling. You know, in the radio days, you guys used to see all this. Oh my God, the technical things.
Put that slider thing up and it's playing, and pull it down.
Yeah.
We're just not paying the technical guy enough, I don't think.
Oh,
we got a call.
It's a call.
Let's go for a call then first. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Alaikum assalam.
Who's this and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Myland.
Myland.
Oh, near my neighborhood, huh? MashaAllah, very good, yeah.
What's your name, brother?
My name's Saleh.
Saleh, welcome. What have you got to say for yourself today? Or tonight,
brother?
rather?
To say, mashallah, seeing you brothers is bringing back a lot of memories. I used to watch you brothers when I was much younger on MCR.
Oh,
Yep.
mashallah, mashallah.
Myland.
How old are you now? How old are you now, brother?
Oh, no, don't. Then people know how old we are.
It's right.
Well, I think people can
How old
tell
were
how old
you?
brothers
How old
are
were you when
looking
you
at your screen.
used to watch us?
I was quite young. I was in secondary school, so about 12.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a group of youngsters who used to listen to us then, yeah, and they were all like after 12 o'clock midnight, you know, when they shouldn't be listening to us. I think you were from that category, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, welcome aboard. Now you're okay now because you can't get into trouble now. So you're all right, yeah, inshallah. What would you like to say or kind of share with us?
Nah, that's it. I just want to say, you know, you brothers are bringing back a lot of memories for myself, and I'm sure a lot of brothers that are tuning in, you know, I'm sure they're sort of in the same boat as well. So, yeah, and it's lovely to hear from you, brothers.
Alhamdulillah.
Keep us in your dua.
Inshallah.
Keep us in your dua, and
Inshallah,
inshallah, pass the word out. We're going to be
quick
on every
question.
Sunday, and inshallah in Ramadan, we'll probably do 2 shows a week, inshallah. And Ramadan is only...
You're just making it up as you go along.
wait, Kalam, isn't that what we've been doing for the last, donkey's years?
Well, we haven't been doing it for the last donkey's years, but before that donkey, there was another donkey, and yeah.
So there you go. Okay, listen, Ramadan is only actually how many days away? Is it 11 days?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, under 2 weeks. So, you know.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I've got another caller, brother. Your name?
Hi, my name's Sanu here.
Okay, Sanu, wait, can you turn off
Your radio. Please switch your radio.
Yeah, is it off? My radio is off, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. Sounds better now. Sounds much more clear now.
All right, you can hear me fine, right? Okay, that's great. I'm actually watching your live, the podcast.
MashaAllah, it's
I
very
just
good.
finding out. Yeah. Who am I speaking to? Am I talking to?
You're basically you're live and everyone's hearing you now. Basically, all the brothers from the studio as well as people who are online now, and who knows, people from all over the world.
I'm surprised there's no studio.
Our house is a studio now. I've made my living room into a studio now.
Okay, this is Abdul Bhai. Okay, this is Rana's brother, Sanu.
Yeah, Sanu. How are
We
you,
know
brother?
we know who you are, Sanu. I recognize your voice.
Podcast. And, you know, anyway, I was actually looking for your number, but send me your number via messenger afterwards. But I have a question. I just looked at an article. It's on the Daily Mirror, and I've dropped the link on the chat. If you want to open this up and maybe highlight on this, what are your thoughts regarding this coronavirus spreading through parts? I know it sounds funny, but it's out there. It's on the Daily Mirror. So, yeah. So let me hear a bit of something from the NHS if somebody's on here. Is it contagious through farting?
the articles on the Daily Mail, and I've dropped the link on the chat.
Oh, that's
Thank
an
you very
interesting
much.
one. That's
Okay,
an,
Jazakallah khair for that. I think we've
Fantastic.
got another caller waiting. Thanks, Sanu, for calling.
All
Keep
right.
us in your dua.
Okay.
Pass the word out, please, brother. Okay, I think the other caller's gone. Guys, you know, back in the days when you guys used to call us and you always used to get an engaged tone. We're having that problem, yeah? MashaAllah, that is a good problem to have, but it's not necessarily a good problem for you. So please be patient. If someone is on the phone, just wait a few minutes, inshallah. We will get through and come to you. So if you want to call again, please do so. Kalam, what did you want to say?
Yes, I just wanted to run through some text messages. Sajid Mia Kamal is watching. Welcome to the show, big man. Kashim Ali saying Darun Makbai, Azad Bhai, Abdul Bhai. Big up to you, brothers. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. Ali Ozzy saying MCR days, memories. So people are having fond memories about MCR. And then we've got Musa saying, I make dua that when things go back to normality, that we can get MCR back on, inshallah. Nusayba Iman is saying, after how many years are you guys back on? Abu Musa is saying, please, can you direct my brother, Gozombor Tut Fetla Nati? Gozombor Tut Fetla Nati. He's searching high and low for Pan. Sophia,
a lot of people are saying there's bringing back a lot of memories. We want to hear some of the memories as well.
There you go. As a memory, by Sophia Lavender, beautiful name. Sophia Lavender is saying, I remember the treasure hunt. That was very entertaining.
Oh my God!
Well, I got into trouble.
Remember, we got into trouble for that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is look. This is a question from Ali Oz. This is a question from Ali Oz, and because you're like quite an expert on this now, yeah. Okay, so and it's after the watershed, and there's no big brothers stopping us. So Corona Fatma le spreadoini. I'm not gonna translate that. It was in Bengali. We'll just leave that.
You got it. You got it. Okay. Listen.
We'll just leave that lingering for a bit, yeah.
No, I think no. We need more research on this. We need more research on this.
Okay, let me just to clarify. It is scientifically, and we can say it is scientifically. Obviously, it does not pass through the skin, so it doesn't transmit from skin to skin. So if you touch someone's skin, you're not going to get it. It passes through, like I said, droplets through respiratory. Yes, and so when someone dies, there's still some air left in their mouth and everything else. So sometimes, they can burp and things like that, and also at the back passage as well, there's sometimes air stuck as well. So these things are natural. I haven't read anywhere that from farts and everything else it can happen, though I have read that from feces it can be transmitted, and there's been a report. So it's probably not safe. So what they do is they make sure that both of those places are blocked and everything else, and they take extra precaution. So yes, look, on a serious note, we should make dua that Allah makes it easy for us. Of course, look, trauma after trauma. So many people we know are passing away. We can't even go to their janazah and their burial and everything else. And it is heart-wrenching. One sister passed away from, I don't know if you brothers know Chapter's Coffee House in Barking, Goodmays rather. And it's Goodmays Mosque, Masjid al-Ansar. It's basically next to Masjid al-Ansar. The sister who founded that, she passed away. Was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember exactly. Subhanallah, may Allah grant her Jannatul Firdaus. She lives behind her husband and five kids. And she was, mashallah, a really active sister. She always helping people, like doing stuff for refugees and everything else. She was a very active sister. And I know for a fact that if this was normal time, her janazah would have been packed. There would be so many people there. So, this is a very traumatic time for a lot of people to deal with, because, we console ourselves with grief when other people come and put their arms around us and tell us it's going to be okay. It helps. it's very difficult at the moment for all of that. So, I just want brothers and sisters to stop all of this discussion, because it just adds to the tension, and just focus on the positive things, okay? And if we can do that, I think we'll get very far.
Yeah, but
I'm going to play the nasheed after Kalam finishes.
Yeah, sorry, can I just say, I think Ustad Asim Khan said in a tweet, he said, no Muslim dies alone. No Muslim dies alone, because thousands and thousands of angels come at the point of his death and welcome him to the afterlife and give him the glad tidings of his book being received in Al-Illiyun, and they envelop him in the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So although to our eyes these people are dying and they're alone and there's nobody by them, no, alhamdulillah, Islam is the religion of Allah, and the mu'min are the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're accompanied by the angels of Allah. What an honor and what a respect and what a position they have. So we should all look, this is Islam, brothers and sisters. Islam gives us hope, and Islam gives us this dignity and this izzah, subhanallah.
Absolutely. And a reminder, small deeds, we should not overlook the small acts of kindness that we can all do, and that may be our salvation. You don't know. And alhamdulillah, the Muslim community, as far as I can see, is really stepping up, helping neighbors, feeding heroes on the front line, the NHS and key workers. We mustn't forget the key workers. They're also risking, looking after the vulnerable. There's a lot of key workers that are working with older people, getting their shopping and everything else, risking their own lives and health as well. So everyone that is playing their part. And, we are also heroes. And you know how we can be the hero is if we stay home and not go out unnecessarily and put an extra burden on the NHS.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, in this lockdown, we need to habitualize ourselves in doing some good actions. Like get into the habit of doing good deeds. So whether it's, sharing food with our neighbors, whether it's praying in Jama'ah with our family, whether it's sitting down and reciting Quran because we've got loads of time, we're working from home, whatever it is, if we can habitualize ourselves in doing good actions, then when things go back to normalcy and we get busy with the dunya, busy with work and school and university and studies, then because we were in a habit, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us that continuous reward like a sadaqah jariyah. This is the amazing thing, the amazing thing about our deen, that those people that used to go to the masjids and pray the jama'ah in the mosques, their dhuhr, their asr, their maghrib, their isha, their fajr, and now because the mosques are locked down, they are still getting the reward for the prayers that they did in their jama'ah. Because if an action becomes a habit for you, when you can't do it for a legitimate reason like illness or you're prevented, Allah keeps on giving you the reward as if you were still doing it. So imagine if we use this time now to do dhikr of Allah, to do extra ibadah, to learn the Quran, to study the religion, then when we're back out and we're not able to do this anymore, Allah will still give us the reward. And this is the beauty of this religion, subhanallah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And that's so important to remember. Kalam, do you want to read some more messages?
Yeah. So what happened is I've lost a few messages, but never mind. I've lost a few messages because
how do you lose messages?
Because when you leave that box, I think you lose it, innit?
Why did you
anyway? That's my technical way of explaining it. So Abu Musa is saying something, and Sanu Sheikh has said he's dropped that article. Easy Talk is reminding everybody that we were last on in 2019.
You don't need to read our own messages, Kalam, please, yeah?
Yeah, Nusayba is saying she seems to remember that she used to miss Taraweeh to listen to us. That's not correct. We were always on after Taraweeh, right?
Yeah. No, she was praying at home.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, that's all right. Fair enough. Abu Musa is saying, on a serious note, my salams to all the brothers. It's good to have you brothers back, mashallah. Ali Oz is thanking Azad for explaining the whole situation. Fawzia Hassan is saying, mashallah, tabarakallah. We're asking you guys, is there any non-Londoners in the house? I'm sure there is.
Yeah, we usually do that. Okay, let's get a shout out from the furthest place from London. I think last week we had someone from Bradford. Let's see if we get that.
Yeah, so Tahura Khatun is saying, oh my God, when did this start? And Easy Talk is saying 10 o'clock as usual. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we're going to be on a Sunday evening at 10 o'clock all the time now, inshallah. until, God knows when. Call us on 02081234507. Jahara is listening to you, brothers, after 11 years, alhamdulillah. Last time she listened to us was in 2000.
Shel Rahman is saying, Salam Darun Show, my childhood radio.
Oh, subhanallah. Very motivating about the habitualization. Let's do it, inshallah. Abdullah Al-Maruf is saying, do you think we should have a 2-week lockdown every year as it helps the environment and unplugs everyone from the worldly mental stress? I think we should do that. What do you reckon? I think there should be a international lockdown week or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the benefits are very good as well because
it's called etikaf.
So yeah. So 2 days ago, there was a news item on the BBC regarding Cape Town in South Africa, where all the drug dealers have basically changed their habits and they're now going out providing food to the vulnerable people who can't get the food and that. So there are.
Sorry, Kalam.
Yeah, go on.
Abdul. Tahura Khatun is saying, well, I'm from Oldham and I used to work in MCR.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Tahura. Kalam is saying shh because someone's walked into the room.
What can you do, man? When you got little ones running around at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock. When are we finishing, by the way, guys?
Yeah, we're gonna finish soon. We're gonna finish soon.
We're gonna finish soon. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well,
go to bed. Little one.
Yes, of course. Okay, listen, Kalam. Just on another kind of change the subject a little bit. What do you make of Priti Patel?
What, her makeup? Sorry, I didn't hear that. What was the question?
Yeah, you can tell me about her makeup as well. I mean, what do you make of her? What do you think of her?
You know what? I think.
And remember, we're not regulated to say whatever you like.
Well, you know what? If you're gonna have a go at Diane Abbott, for getting her figures wrong, and if the media is gonna launch at her like merciless hounds, having a go at the poor lady for not knowing some stats, then you got this woman coming onto the stage and she can't even say what was the figure again? But she can't say the number, right? Like
300,000.
What the hell was all that about? Come on.
Not only that, I mean, that's one aspect. I mean, I can almost understand she misread that, whatever. But, did you see, like, when they were being asked to apologize for not providing the NHS? Subhanallah, I can't remember the exact number of deaths, but 10 doctors that have died have been all from ethnic minority, and I think majority of them were Muslims. Yeah. And I think there's been about 4 or 5 nurses as well. I can't remember the exact number, but it's over 12, 13 people, doctors and nurses have already died because they don't have the correct equipment. And the journalists, which are all rubbish anyway, they asked her the question, and she this is what she said. Well, I'm sorry if they feel like that. Well, it's your fault for feeling like that. Do you get it? And like Boris comes out today. I mean, all those people who stepped out and clapped for Boris, shame on you. He comes out today, right? And everything else. Oh, I owe my life to the NHS. No, Boris, you owe the NHS £350 million, mate. Okay, you owe the NHS a decent pay. You owe the NHS correct equipment, so they can. The nurses that you thanked, like
the New Zealand one and the one from Portugal, foreigners.
I bet Priti has already sent the van over to you know what I mean? So
like something of an Indian film, innit? Because she's from that's her heritage, innit?
Oh yeah. Her heritage, mate. Like, this is the woman who, without anyone knowing, went into a secret meeting with the Zionist state of Israel.
This is the point.
This is the thing, So these are the people that are, in charge of, helping us. God help us. I mean, maybe America is in a worse position than us, but we're not that far off. Okay. So if anything, brothers and sisters, right, please write it down somewhere, give yourself a voice note or something and say, those time capsules that people put in the ground. Okay. If we survive this pandemic, there's got to be some serious changes. And the first thing that needs to change is the government and the way it's been dealing with our infrastructure. When it comes to the crunch, who were the important people? Was it the bankers who we gave billions upon billions of money, taxpayers' money, yours and my money, to bail out? Or is it the nurse, or is it the doctor, or is it the key worker in all the other places like the pharmacist, or helping the elderly? Who were the people we needed, okay, when it came to saving your life? And this is really important to understand, okay? So I hope people don't forget that.
The other thing is, like,
just on that, yeah. I mean, I spoke to someone non-Asian, non-BME neighbours on the estate, yeah, and they themselves are also feeling how they've been let down as a society, because obviously the preparation for this has been kind of abysmal, yeah. Because obviously, like you've also stated before, the government, had early indications and instructions were given to them how best they can approach this, but they haven't approached this. And obviously today we've got a death. 10,612 people have lost their lives today, yeah. And the experts were actually saying initially that a lot of people are going to lose their lives, but they wanted to keep it within 10,000. But obviously we've actually exceeded 10,000, yeah. So we've not even hit our peak. And that is shocking. And yes, and the problem is, that the emotional side is 100% right. We've got to be factually very clear. Yeah, there has been some serious negligence, but the question is, in this kind of situation, how can people prevent this? Because people can't become so political now, because they're thinking about the crisis and their health and the situation that they're going through. Yeah. However, and you're right, the reporters are not actually hitting hard questions. They're just giving the question, just finding out, some of the figures and stats. Well, we know the stats and figures. We want to know basically what's going to be done to reduce these death rates here, because we don't want it to go to 30,000 or 40,000, because every single death is a death, and every single life that's taken away is taken away. And if it's done because of our systems are actually failing us, and it's because we've actually prepared very poorly, and we've not been pumping the money into the NHS in the initial stages. You've got to remember, when the Tory governments were cutting all these frontline services, they were cutting all these.
Sorry to interrupt you. Like, people doing lots of different comparisons, like how is Italy coping? How did France cope? How did Spain cope? And everything else. And also Germany. Why is Germany, like, who's got more cases than us and everything else, why are their deaths figures so low? Do you know why? Because they got more beds, they got more equipment.
ICU beds.
Yeah. This
is not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
No. There was a fantastic little meme, I think, about the Germans. They said, like, we don't clap our NHS, we just give them the money and the equipment, and that's the point. That's the point. Invest in these people. Support the infrastructure that's gonna save lives. Don't destroy the NHS. Pretend to love the NHS, kind of sell it off and privatize it. Actually do the right things. And people need to wake up. As a nation, we need to wake up, and we need to see what's going on, and we need to hold our leaders to account. The one thing that I wanted to just add on the slide is, these MPs are working from home. And because they're working from home, they're giving themselves 10K bonus. And the only MP that didn't take that 10K so far was Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, no, yes, and you know what the lame excuse is? Oh, this 10,000 isn't for us. This 10,000 is for, we've never worked from home, and the people that help us, they've never worked from home, is to help them. What? What about the people who are losing their job? You guys are earning 80,000 almost pounds.
They're working from home. Are they running their surgeries?
Exactly.
Yeah. So how many people are they seeing? Yeah. I think what we should do now is kind of like, get the public to start kind of phoning and writing to their MPs and say, look, we're saying all this, what's happening with the NHS. We know where the fault is. Yeah. More people are going to die. We've not even hit the peak now. Yeah. And obviously the government doesn't want the public to kind of go in panic mode and that. Yeah. But panic mode might kick in. Now, what are these MPs going to do in order to kind of put the pressure on so that, they get these essential protections for our NHS frontline staff members, and also to plough the money in? After this crisis is finished, are they going to plough the money in, and how much money are they going to plough it in?
Okay, listen, just change.
sorry, very quickly, what Stormzy has said, and some of you might know who Stormzy is, the next round of applause should come with like a demand for PPE for our NHS staff. So that's kind of like a positive action.
Yeah,
there
but
as
it's
well.
late. Come on.
Okay.
Listen, it is
one point.
so late.
Brother Azad, one point. Yeah. What do you think of charity organisation, community groups are now raising money for buying these personal protection for the NHS? Do you think I've got one person saying, "Oh, that's not right," because people shouldn't be raising money for the NHS because that's a government's role.
Yeah, I totally agree with them.
Sorry,
I
because
totally
because we're on the topic of PPE as well. Yeah, I just want to big up Turkey. I want to big up Turkey. I want to big up Erdogan. I want to big up the Muslim Ummah, the Uthmani Khilafah, the spirit of the Uthmani Khilafah. Because what did Turkey do? Turkey sent not a shipment, a cargo full of PPE and equipment to the British, and they sent a lovely message saying, look, the dawn follows the darkest hours of the night, or something like that. Some quote from Jalaluddin Rumi, and this is what we should be.
Okay, Kalam, there's some good text messages. Can you read some of the text messages?
Listen,
which one are you talking about?
I've got one of the text messages, and this is the second person who's raised it, which is about hospitals. There's a message going around. Some hospitals are treating the patients really poorly. They're not even giving them paracetamol. They're leaving them to die, etc., etc. So it seems like there is some bad experience that people are having in the hospitals as well. So I think, look, whilst I totally understand, I accept these messages that people are saying it did happen to these people, but I think also it needs to be balanced off with what the situation is in the hospitals themselves. What we've got to realize is, like, these doctors are humans just like you and me. Just like how we are scared of what's going on, how it can affect us, they're also doing their job with that fear as well. So maybe we just cut them some slack. Of course, if there's some unprofessional behavior, then that's a different story, and we definitely need to seriously look into that. So look, Kalam, I just wanted to change the subject a little bit. Yeah. and that is, have you had a barbecue?
No.
Why not, bruv?
I'm on lockdown, bro.
You got a garden.
Yeah, but still.
What's wrong?
If you go out there, it's the fresh air, innit? You might get coronavirus.
Okay, right. See, Kalam believes in the airborne version of it, and that's why he's not doing any barbecues. Listen, Abdul,
have
you done a barbecue?
You must be joking. I live in a council flat, yeah, a mace in it on the, you'd be like, I'm lucky I got like a pram shed to put my bike away.
You know what? Some people have been doing barbecues. I was just thinking, yes, one.
Yeah, I've been giving them watching them from the window.
Yeah.
But giving them a what? What? You can give them a D. I'd give them an A+ if I were you.
No, did.
Oh, did.
He's giving them Nazar.
Oh, Nazar.
Yeah.
He's giving them the evil eye. Listen, brothers and sisters, we will definitely be coming on Ramadan, but I think there's a tradition of easy talk in Ramadan, and I think Kalam probably guessing where I'm going with this, where our listeners would look at the sacrifice that we make in bringing the show out and everything else, and what they would do is make sure that there's no rumbling in our tummy, and they would provide caramel tarts, they will provide wings, they will provide shepherd's pie. Yeah,
beans, shepherd's pie with beans.
So we will come on in Ramadan, but we need. I know there's a lockdown and there's only non-essential thing.
Quickly, yeah.
But some of you guys, you know how to work it. We can't tell you to do anything illegal, but do this illegally. Bake a shepherd's pie and deliver it to us.
Okay, what's the scientific backing when you're cooking without a face mask? Can you contaminate the food?
No.
Okay.
Now, because this virus doesn't survive 26 degrees.
Another GP, huh? Another GP.
Yeah, no.
On a serious note, yeah. I went into. I was forced to go to a PFC, yeah, and get some food and that, and I only saw one person's got a face mask, the others don't have a face mask, and it just kind of I wasn't really sure should I get it or not. I got it afterwards. I'm still all right, yeah.
Right, some people reckon we're rounding up the show because they're saying the show was epic.
We're not rounding up the show. Before we
Somebody
round up
say,
the show, we're going to play another
the
nasheed.
Bengali lines are the worst. They think we're rounding up. Okay, I think we should take a hint, Azalba, isn't it? Like,
No, we'll take a hint. But let's play this nasheed. I want to play this nasheed.
okay. I gotta sing my Liverpool song before we go, innit?
No,
You ain't going anyway. Listen.
No, before you
Abu
sing your
Musa has written a text. It's heartbreaking to hear Muslims passing away in care homes due to COVID-19. Should they have been left in care homes in the first place? He's asking us.
Yeah, it's another topic in itself, isn't it?
We've had plenty of rants about that. Those of you who used to listen to us will know. No, absolutely not. Your parents, your loved ones should not be in a care home. Absolutely not.
If you can avoid it, but it's not a category. It can't be a categorical.
Listen,
no,
Halam, there's always an exception to a rule.
Yeah.
There's always an exception to the rule. But the rule, let's stick to the rule, Akhi. We don't promote the exception. We never promote the exception. That's what gets us into the mess. Yeah.
No, but ideally, innit, it's not like a black and white.
It is black and white. Black and white is you keep your family with you. The exception is when you can't.
No, the black and white is you take care of your family. You have a responsibility to look after your parents.
Yeah, exactly.
How you do that?
Yeah.
Circumstances.
So
can dictate.
Would your parents look after you by sending you to a nursery all your life, and then come and visiting you like once a week? Would you like that? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't bring your children up like that. So why are you going to leave your old parents in a home and then visit them once a week?
Circumstances may demand that some people have to, isn't it?
No, that's the exception again. That's an exception. Most of us is not.
Oh,
Most of
I think I'm understanding what Brother Azad is saying. He's saying that's the exception, yeah. But I think the exception is so big now because a lot of people struggling with practicalities, and that's the problem. And I think people got to able to adjust. And my take on this is that the norm shouldn't be that way, but there are a lot of circumstances. I mean, there are projects that are actually working now where elderly people are isolated, they're on their own, and even under this coronavirus problem, a lot of elderly people are kind of neglected as well. Yeah.
So when somebody reaches the elder age, the demand is a lot more, isn't it? When somebody's old, they might have dementia, they might have some long-term illness, there may be lots of things, mitigating reasons where they need
like
support,
what?
additional support.
Yeah. So did you when you were a little kid? You were more than demanding, unreasonable.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same analogy.
Yes, it is the same. Absolutely, it is the same. Why is it not the same?
Because it's not at all. It's not the same.
Why is it not the same? Your parents gave up all of their time to look after you, to feed you. They actually went hungry so that you can eat. And you're telling me now they're old and they can't, dementia is not, it's not their fault they got dementia. It's from Allah. Now that they've got they've become a family.
If a family who has to take care of an elderly parent with dementia, for example, or some medical problems, if they cannot cope, if they cannot do it, and they choose to send somebody to send their
I
parents
don't buy it for a second. This is all this sissy liberal. Ooh, it's hurt me. Oh, you hurt my feelings. Let's be men, okay? What are you talking about? There's so much nonsense. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you.
I know, but I'm saying it's a real issue. I mean, it's
a real issue. But I don't buy it.
All I'm saying, if one of our viewers or listeners, whatever, are in that situation and they hear you speak like that, it's not going to be very nice to them, is it?
No. Okay,
because they're doing the best. They're doing the best they can.
Listen, Kalam. I'm saying to you, right? This is what I'm saying. Just let me. The general rule is you look after your parents. You look after them. You keep them with you. You keep them happy. Like they brought you up when you were a kid. Now they've become a kid. You bring them up, and you look after them to the last of their days. Okay?
Yeah, no doubt about that. You have to look after.
No. That's
prophetic.
Second thing is
how you look after them is the question.
So how? That's what I'm saying. So how you keep them with you, right? That's what I said. Now, if
not
your circumstances,
yes, that's where we beg to differ.
No, because if your parents can live by themselves, fine. But when they can't, if they can't do the shopping, who's going to do their shopping for them?
Yeah.
No, you need to look after them.
Yeah,
no,
who's going to do that?
Look. If you look at the text messages, 100% agree with Azad. By your parents are. Our parents are our responsibility. Abdul Qadir says, shame on those who abandon their mum and dad and send them to care homes. That's not what it is. Many Muslims who are sending their parents to care homes are not abandoning them. They're sending them because that's the best thing, in their opinion, it's the best thing they can do for their parents.
No, I don't buy that for a second. I do not buy that for a second. That you oh my God, I've just had a baby boy. You know what? The best thing I could do for my son is give him.
It's not the same analogies. That's
absolutely the same. Absolutely the same. I challenge anyone to come, write, phone, whatever next week. If this week is not,
let's do it for next week. Let's do it for next week.
Give me the context where it is okay for you to send your mum or your dad or both of them into a care home. Bring it. I'll listen to it and I'll accept it. But even then, I did say there's an exception. But look, listen, one thing I have to say in between all of this rant, we kind of interrupted the nasheed at the best part.
Yeah,
and it hurts. So inshallah, we'll recover from that and we'll play again another time. But look, we don't want to keep going on a rant and everything else. These are really important topics, and inshallah, we'll pick it up next week and have a proper conversation. I'm not dismissing what Kalam is saying. There are circumstances and everything else that we do need to understand. Right, brothers and sisters, though.
Are you concluding? Shall I read some?
No. I was going to say, we go to your messages. I could say afterwards.
Okay, right. So basically, a lot of people are agree with Azad bro. Our parents took care of us no matter our illness, etc. How can we not when they need us the most. Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira, Saima is saying. Rabia is saying anyone can cope with elderly and vulnerable parents, but only selfish children choose not to. Oh gosh. I agree with Azadbai. Parents should be living with the children, but nowadays children neglect their parents, and it is liberalism. Woohoo! Tamanna, not everyone has a choice. Some people do not have the choice, as their house may not be suitable or for their parents, and there's more there, but I can't. Oh, there you go. Parents, because of their illness, and therefore social services will get involved and not allow the father to stay. It is a sad situation for all, and no one will forcibly send their parents into a care home. What can a care worker do that we can't do at home? Be at home for them is one thing. They will not abandon their own children, but they can abandon their vulnerable parents. Mavis, I know of a friend's mum-in-law who had dementia, who looked after her mother-in-law till she passed away, even though it was very difficult. No wonder our ummah is at its lowest. I think we should be clear. Sons and daughters have to look after their beloved parents. Doesn't matter if the daughter is married and leaves the household. Tawfiq One is watching as well.
I was gonna. I mean, I'll come back to this point, but I think, look, we cannot. Subhanallah, we are moving. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, there will be a time where holding on to just some basic aspects of the deen will be like holding on to hot coal. Right? We are in these things, there is so much that we are giving away. So much that we are giving away without even thinking about it. The social, yes, we're living in a dominant culture where, the culture in this country is that elderly people are put in elderly care homes. Okay, but that's not us. It's not because we're Bengali or Pakistani or Arab or whatever. No, it's because it's not from our deen. It is not from our deen. This is really important to understand. Okay, we could, no matter how much you do, you cannot ever make up for the the pain of child birth that our parents gave. There's nothing we can do to even make up to that. And you telling me a bit of dementia is going to get on your nerves? You telling me, because dementia, your house is a bit. No, not dementia. It's just
my
one.
got dementia. I live with that. We live. So it's not like it's not a bit. Yeah.
No. It's not easy. I'm not saying.
It's crazy. It's actually really, really tough.
Yeah, but that's why you need to be there, because it's your mum who's got it. You don't leave it to somebody else. No matter how professional they are, we all know they're not going to be like your own. Do you get it? Like the way I would look after my mum, I know no other person's going to do that same. Okay? I know. It's just normal. We all know this. So I think, look, we got to up our game. I wasn't kidding when I was saying we got to step up and man up a little bit. We have to put up with this pain. All right? If I have to sleep in the living room so that my mum can have the bedroom, I'll do that. That's the thing we have to do. Why? Because my mum would have done the same thing for me. Right? Not would have, she probably did. I remember when I was young, I remember I had a really hot fever, and my mum and my grandma basically all night stayed up. And, this was in Bangladesh, when I was in Bangladesh. And, with the fakha, you know what I'm talking about, innit? Yeah. With that, they were fanning me, basically, all night, non-stop. And I remember seeing them all night. Can you imagine? Who would do that, Kalam? What other person would do that for you? No one's going to do that for you.
Times are changing. Yeah,
no,
that's where the problem
times
is.
Might change. Times always change.
Yeah. That's where.
The message does not change.
No,
but I think we shouldn't confuse matters either, though. There's one thing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكُمْ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, that you have to have ihsan with your parents. It's a Quranic. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Ameen to the one who couldn't attain Jannah because of serving his parents when one of them or both of them are in old age. So this is known for us. You have to show ihsan to your parents. You have to respect them. You have to honor them. You have to love them. You have to take care of them. That is taken for that. That should be the red. You have to. How you do that is the question, isn't it? People are ruling out homes and care services. Some people on the text are saying there's no such thing as care homes in Islam. Well, sorry, brother, that's wrong. That's incorrect. There is, because Islam is a religion for the dunya, for the realities of the situation. In the dunya.
But Kalam, just like the other conversation, and even in this one, the approach is completely flawed and it's un-Islamic. The approach in Islam is like, you have a duty, you find a way of fulfilling that duty. When there is too much obstacle that is preventing you from fulfilling that duty, Allah has given you a way out. Okay? And that's the ruqsa. But what I see is people, they start with the ruqsa. They look for the ruqsa without even trying. I mean, I don't want to personalize it to anyone, okay? But how many years?
Have you spoken to these people? Have you ascertained? Because there may be some people who are doing it out of selfishness. They want to spend more time with their children and wives, but it could,
It's for.
I've not met anybody yet.
Yeah, I know a good number, not just in London, in other parts of the country. Okay, unfortunately, I don't know why people call me and get me involved in these things, right? But I know, because. One case I can say, and I'm pretty sure none of their family will be listening, right, or watching. One case, it was exactly because there was not enough space, right? So, and anyway, they moved their parents. It was both of them to a care home and everything else, and then there was all these problems. That's how I got involved, because they basically gave them non-halal food. Okay, anyway, so. When I went and I said the guy was telling me there's not enough space, and I was seeing, right, basically he's got a study. So there's a room that he uses as an office, like a study. Do you get it? And I said, like, why can't your parents go in there? He goes, I said, I just use it as a study. That was his first answer. I said, yeah, but your parents can stay there. He goes, yeah, no, but it's a bit small. I goes, no, it's not. It's big enough for a double bed. That's what they need. What else do they need? They only need a double bed. Like, most of us haven't grown up in a mansion, right? We've lived in smaller places with lots of brothers and sisters, and we all managed to do everything fine. Like, so, this attitude of finding the easiest way out, this desire to always find the easiest way out, this is what's dominating many Muslims' mind. And this is absolutely wrong. And this is what I'm challenging.
Is it, Brother Azad, that we're no longer understand the virtue of sacrifice in its deep meaning as well?
Yeah, I don't think we understand what sacrifice means. I think people think sacrifice means giving up 1 hour of my time. And I think sometimes us du'at are also to blame, because we say, oh, thank you for sacrificing your hour. That is no sacrifice, man. I'm sorry, that it's not. Okay?
No, it starts with an hour though, so we shouldn't undermine.
Okay, can I throw some tips in here? Yeah, I think as a Muslim communities, this is going to be a major topic of discussion. I think there's various different elements here. You've got care that's very essential, care that's required, responsibility and duty as well. And I totally agree with Azabay. Responsibility lies immediately that you've got to look after your parents, yeah? But I think also we are not educating ourselves and the community in how to prepare to look after the elderly people. So there are some steps that we have to take. If you don't have that preparation, if you go to school and you don't think about your career, you don't think about what you want to do in the future, and also part of that future is, you're going to get married, you're going to have your own family, and then also part of that picture has got to be your elderly people are going to get old as well. You've got to look after them as well. So if you look at other countries, North Africa, other Muslim countries, their package of plan is very comprehensive. They're thinking about this from early stage. We just kind of like crash into it. Oh, sugar, we got elderly person, what do we do now? Oh, sugar, they've got medical conditions that we don't know how to deal with. And I think it's one of those kind of crisis situations we as a community are coming and facing, and it's becoming very obvious, because obviously the easy thing is to look at easy options. What is the easy option? You take the easy option quickly, because we're in that we haven't prepared and planned for it. Young people are not growing up thinking, oh, hold on, I may have that responsibility. It's having impact on people's marriages as well. Okay, whose responsibility is it? Okay, it's the It's the son's responsibility. You got extended family members as well. You got other brothers and sisters. Can we think of a way where we plan this? We have a plan for the elderly people so that every member of the family is helping and supporting. Everyone's taking their turn. Create the system that's going to be a plan. Maybe talk about systems that are working for many families who have elderly people as well. Yeah, so that solutions are provided.
No, but the solution, Abdubai, is to look after your parent. What are you looking for? Look after your parent, bruv. Step up, sacrifice. Why are you looking for a plan? You're looking for a way out. Look after your parent.
Listen,
yeah, but you have to.
Look, we gotta. We're doing the conversation. Let's do it anyway. We gotta approach this in a.
By the way, listen, guys. Sorry, Azad, my phone's died on me, so I can't see any text messages. So
I'll read it. Yeah. Okay. So Karen Elliott is saying there comes a time when you cannot do it alone. And it's a 24/7 job. Look, I think maybe I'll take the responsibility. Maybe I'm giving you guys the wrong, I'm saying it in the wrong way. You're not understanding. Let me say it again. There is always an exception. Okay, I never deny. The Deen does not deny. There is always an exception.
No, but what I'm saying is, when somebody reaches an elderly age, that exception becomes a bit more than one or two people. Many elderly people, especially because of the lifestyles, whatever it is, they reach a situation where they need more support than the family members with all good intention can give. Right, and I'm not talking about those people who are irresponsible, who don't know their Islamic responsibility of showing ihsan to their parents and respecting them. And I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people who know their responsibilities, but they're not able. Who know their responsibilities.
But that's a minority, though, Kalam. This is my point. Is look, I'm not denying anything you said. I accept everything you've said, but I'm still saying that's an exception. You cannot start like the teaching that we give our community is not to look for the rukhsa. It's the same problem in marriages, right? It's the same problem in dealing with many of the issues we have. Like, we always we always go for the easiest thing. We always go for the things like, if you take the issue of domestic violence, for example, the first thing we do every time someone mentions domestic violence is, oh, it doesn't happen to us. Oh, it's in Islam, it's like this. We hide it under. We always do this, right? So we got to be very balanced, like you said, Sirat al-Mustaqim, like, middle path, right? The straight path. We have to be balanced on this. So let me just say it clearly. Our approach to our parents should be, we will look after them until they die. How we look after them will be dictated by your circumstances, but they should be. Yeah, no, I've said the same thing, but they should. But if your circumstances, like because of your house setup and everything else, does not allow them to stay there, and you have to put them somewhere else, then when you put them somewhere else, you got to ask yourself: Is that right? Am I doing justice to them? And the people that are looking after my parents, because I'm not there, because they're somewhere else, are they doing justice? And am I, what is going to be, if my mother has an ache in her heart that, look at my son, because I've become old and frail and noisy and bossy and irrational and mad and all of these things, he couldn't keep me in his house. He put me in somewhere else's house. If that comes to her heart, it will go straight to Allah, and I will never get into paradise.
No, but again, see, it's the nuances of what you're saying, which is quite, in my opinion, it's quite dangerous because it's just it's a blanket statement. What Abdullah was.
I started with giving all of those things first, and then you were saying it's blanket.
What Abdullah was trying to do is skirt around the issue and actually address the reality of the situation, but still not acknowledge that actually to do that is acceptable and may be the best. It may be ihsan. This is what I'm saying. When you guys say look after your parents, that's not what the issue is. Allah wants you to show ihsan to them and to earn paradise through serving them. Now, serving them.
How do you?
Serving them could mean keeping them in your house, looking after them, and all of that. But serving them could also mean, because you've got your own family, your priority is your children and your family. So you might have to. Yes,
that's a mistake. Your priority is not your children and your wife. Your priority is still your parents.
Yeah, you have to look.
Where does the parent? If we did a scale, of who goes where. This is the problem. That's what I'm saying. Like, we need this tarbiyah back.
No. But
you're saying your
you're
parents.
stuck in,
Like, if you put this is the scale. Your parents are down here and your family is down here. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Exactly.
No.
So,
no, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, then
What
don't
I'm
use
saying-
the word priority.
No.
It's not about priority. It's about balancing the needs of your immediate family, which is your kids and your wife, and your mother and your father. By the way, me and Kalam, we're not talking at each other. We're just discussing. Okay, it's not.
No, absolutely.
Some people might think.
Let's hear Kalam out then. Come on, Kalam. Let's hear you out.
No. I've said what I need to say. Where there's a difference here is you guys keep on talking about looking after maybe keeping them in your house and being at their service for 24 hours a day. That's looking after. But looking after could also be you need to go out to work, you need to earn your bread, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and your parents' needs are such that you can't fulfill them. You can't do the best. So you outsource that. You send them out to a care home or whatever it is, a facility that does that. Now the whole conversation is like, because of this wall that we build, no care homes Islamically, blah blah blah. There's no Muslim centric, Islamic centric, faith-based care services where the carers are Muslim, where the staff are conscious people. Hang on.
There are care centers.
There are a few, very few, and therefore most of the people are sending them to non-Muslim services. Hence, you get issues with halal food. Hence, you get issues about personal hygiene and all of that. If we were a bit more open to the reality that many elderly Muslim people of that generation will need that service, we embraced it. We were entrepreneurial and we opened these facilities.
You know the human nature. If now I am against Muslims opening care homes, I am still against it. I've been against it since I had this conversation maybe 20, 30 years ago.
That's why people are going. That's why they're being sent to
let them suffer the consequences.
No.
Suffer the consequences.
Disagree.
Kalam, me and you are only in this world because of our parents, through Allah. Yeah? Okay, this is the first thing to understand. The second thing to understand here is, whenever you give the human being an option, he'll always take the easier one, right? So now Muslims have sprouted lots of care centers here, there, and everywhere. What are you going to do? Oh, yeah, Dad, it's a little bit crowded over here. We need our privacy at home, yeah? There's a nice Muslim care home. Let's take you there. And that's it. Before you know, you're taking them there. This is the culture.
Let's read some text messages.
We never had this.
Kalam. Inshallah, if Allah wills, whichever plan Allah has for us, three of us in the old people's homes, we'll do easy talk from there.
Carry on the debate.
We'll carry
on.
Ethan Hunt is saying, Kalam, there's a care home waiting for you, and then he's smiling and laughing and joking. My kids are gonna look after me, or else, mate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're not getting that money.
You say that now because you're young and healthy and strong.
No, I'm saying my kids will look after me. What are you saying? I ain't going to no care home. Bloody, I didn't raise them up for that, bruv, did I? Come off it, mate. What? One of them at least has to look after me, innit? I'm gonna,
No, this is the other thing. The responsibility needs to be spread with the siblings. It's not one child's responsibility. It's a responsibility of all of them. Yes, you might have one or two that are a little bit silly in the family, but you do your best with them. But look, share it out. It's, like, I can't think, like, someone put as a message, paradise lies beneath the feet of our mother's feet. Like, the simplest way, one of the easiest doors maybe to get to Jannah is through our parents, is through serving them.
Of course, and this is the Prophet ﷺ was climbing up the mimbar and he said Ameen, Ameen, Ameen 3 times, and he didn't do this before, and so the Sahaba were like, you've never done this before. Why? He said Jibril made dua and I said Ameen. Remember, Jibril's dua is Rasulullah's Ameen means acceptance, so this is reality. So what was it? One of them is, if you hear the name Muhammad and you don't say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may your nose be rubbed in the dust, may you be cursed. Rasulullah said Ameen. The second one was if you see the month of Ramadan and you enter it and you don't attain the rahmah of Allah through Ramadan, may your nose be rubbed in the dust. And the third one was if you have one parent or both parents at old age and you don't attain Allah's rahmah through servicing them and caring for them, may your nose be rubbed in the dust. So, as Muslims, we should realize that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, who should we have more favor to? Who should we respect and honor and love most? He said, your mother, your mother, your mother. And then he said, your father. We know that the father is the door to Jannah. We know that in the hadith, which is weak, that but has many truths in it, that the Jannah is beneath the feet of your mother, meaning service to them, paying attention to them, loving them, respect. We know all of that. We should, that should be a given. That should be a given. There's a really good text message here. Musa is saying, I think the most important thing is that children need to discuss how to take care of their parents. For example, if we have a parent who needs help to go toilet, etc., if we do struggle, you can get care workers to come to the house to support the parent as well and yourselves. I won't lie, me and my husband talk of my parents who are separated, and my sister would take my mum and I would take my dad. Sadly, I live in a one-bedroom flat with 3 of us, but I would change things to accommodate my dad. So we need, absolutely, we need to try to do.
This is it. That's all I'm saying. Let's have the attitude that we will do no matter what it takes, and then let the circumstances dictate, the reality. So Allah does not burden a soul more than it can bear.
So Mavis Zahid and Ethan Hunter saying no to care homes, full stop. Okay, inshallah. Okay.
Kalam.
Just have loads of children in it. All I'm saying is like if you guys have children, then there's a chance that you'll be looked after. If you don't have children, you'll be praying for a care home. That's all I'm saying.
Look, brother Kalam. Look. Because of this crisis now, right? We're going to adventure into new areas, new way of thinking. Probably going back to the old schools. I've always believed, we should be in the village. So the village might need to be modern. Every child previously grew up in the village. But this mentality of individualism or the collective, we are a victim of that, and we're in that society which promotes that individualism. So this is why these kind of issues are going to be challenging and debatable. But bang on, we have responsibility. We have to look after. We have to find solutions and strategy.
Kashim, listen, Kashim has just put a message, which is good. He's saying you're both discussing from different case perspective. Both of you right, given the situation. Brother Azad, you're right. But unfortunately, we live in a community where bad other kids are kicking out their good parents. So where do we settle them? Where do they go? Look, the answer to anything is not to deal with the symptoms. Allah did not reveal this deen to deal with the symptoms. Okay, it's to do with the root causes. Okay, so if we create care homes because some kids are behaving like this, we're dealing with the symptoms. And what's going to happen is we're going to let the symptoms increase. We need to deal with the root cause, which Abdul mentioned. Hold on. Well, Abdul mentioned right at the beginning, which is what? How we bring out the tarbiyah that we're giving our children and everything else, the lessons that they are learning. Okay, like at the moment, like respecting. Okay, there was a time when I was growing up. Okay, I would not swear in front of an older person. I would not misbehave. I was definitely a naughty kid. I'm not saying I was an angel, but I would not. I would not do it in front of someone that was older. Okay, because I had that respect. Okay, you don't have none of that today. Okay, it is all going away. It's all being chipped away bit by bit by bit, and to the point where now. Kids, the way I've seen some kids, the way they talk to their parents, you think, oh my God, are they like brothers and sisters or something? Like, it's so rude. There's no other. So the thing we need to do, like Kalam said, right? Okay, if you're going to have kids and everything else, we need to invest in bringing them up in the correct way. That investment is very, very important. Don't leave it to the masjid. You got to do it as a father and a mother.
But that's that. It's also social interaction. You've got to get your kids to spend time with your parents as well, because your parents have right over their grandchildren, and that social bonding and connection is also very therapeutic for the elderly people as well. There are cases that we deal with where families don't allow their kids to see their parents, and the elderly parents crave to see their grandchildren. So there are many factors. There are many problems in our communities. And I think we'll have this discussion, but the fundamentals are very very simple. It's you got to look after your parents, but you got to find your best strategies that will help you to do so. And I think we are now looking at best ways. There are families who are actually brothers, sisters, extended family looking after their elderly, and they share responsibilities. And I think, you know, there's a lot of positive steps forward that people are taking, and there are difficult circumstances. There are people who have serious medical conditions which stops them, and I think some of our contributors have actually highlighted that, you know, when they're in their council flats, when they come, and these are exceptional cases because we haven't looked at solutions. I know a lot of families, they've taken the elderly people, they moved over to Redbridge and other areas because they want their parents to spend time in the garden and things like that. And for some families, that's backfired because a lot of the elderly people, they loved East London, they loved Whitechapel, they can't travel, create a lot of isolation. So there's loads of issues, you know, that we need to be thinking about.
And look,
the whole
there's
subject,
a lot of big discussion, and I think we need to move it to next week's show because you know what, it is midnight, and I think
is it midnight? What time?
Can I just say one thing actually before you conclude?
I'm not going to conclude. I was going to say, okay, go and say it. Finish it.
Sorry, all I was going to say is I was with Azadbai about the whole thing about this religion, and you know, we need to, it's here to solve the main issues and problems and what, but it's also a realistic religion. So in the meantime, you need to have solutions for what's actually in your realities, in your what people are.
No one denies that. No, but you don't start off by dealing with the symptoms. That's my point.
I think, but this
is always the case. And we don't. We only hear about people. Look, it's just anyway. Let's park this conversation for next week because we're just going to keep expanding it.
Hang on. All I want to say is, look, guys, if we're serious about this issue about, you know, people being thrown into care homes and elderly people not having their families, then it has to start with education and tarbiyah, like you said. If you don't start speaking to your children and your grandchildren and your cousins and nephews about what Islam, the honorable position Islam puts to their parents, the pedestal that it raises parents to, the maqam that the parents have, the responsibilities and the rights that
use maqam. Then
the maqam, pedestal maqam, so that if we don't teach our kids that kind of reality, then don't be surprised when parents are not visited, when parents die alone in homes, when parents are being chucked out to care centers, because we've not done our jobs. So let's do our jobs, let's teach our children, and inshallah, hopefully the future will be
definitely. Look, brothers and sisters, we'll carry this on next week, probably in a more organized way. Look at it because it's a very big subject, and like people like Kashim and others, they're saying, like, you know, look, we got to look at the whole education system and what Kalam just said and everything else. So, mashallah, a lot of good points there, and we will come back to it. And alhamdulillah, look, you know, the time has flown by. It has for us, and mashallah, there's a good number of you still watching us. Whatever we're saying, one thing just remember, brothers and sisters, okay, is that we are one ummah. Okay, we are collective and we've got lots of problems. Okay, but those problems should never put a division between any of us. I might have a different opinion than Kalam and everything else, but me and Kalam are tight like this. Okay, and this is the key, because this is the only way we're going to solve our problems. Is we cannot lose our sanity and everything else just for our opinion. I might be right, Kalam might be right, we both might be wrong, and Abdul could be right. Okay, and the only way we're going to allow to see that is if we keep our brotherhood, and this is really important. Okay, so the greater threat that comes for all of us is we're living in a time, like someone said, in a godless time, in a time where religion is seen as something backward. Okay, so we got to be very careful. Let's have all of these conversations and everything else, but remember there's a bigger threat, and let's not fall prey to that through this discussion and cause division. So very, very important. I didn't want anyone to leave today. Some of our Easy Talk regulars would know that as the case, but I know there's quite a few new viewers. So I didn't want to give them any wrong impression. So do you want to do anything quickly before we finish?
Kalam? Am I reading the last few text messages?
Go for it.
Yes. All right, so basically we've got loads of people saying no to care homes, and then we've got Yahya saying we need practical examples. Sunny saying my first time watching this show and I'm very much enjoying the discussion and the debate. We've got Fahima saying, Samba, this is a very good show. Can I watch it from the beginning? Karen Elliott saying, good night and stay well. It's been a fantastic debate, brilliant debate. Looking forward to the next one. And Tazara saying, yes, once this finishes, go back to the page and watch it again. So Tazara's answering the question. You can watch this show again. You can watch it as many times as you like. You can watch it on your TV. You can screen it onto your TV as well, apparently.
But brothers and sisters, share the word out. We'll be back again next Sunday. We want to increase, obviously, the viewers and the listeners. You can just listen to us. You don't have to look at us. We feel a bit weird that you can see us. You know, we can't do all the things we used to do before.
Well, I've got to say, mashallah, you know, we've had some fantastic comments and suggestions put forward, and also a lot of people actually come on line to be with us as well. So jazakallah to all those brothers and sisters who've taken the time out. I know we've spent quite a lot of time, and that's how things are in Easy Talk. And sometimes we try and put different perspectives, because at the end of the day, you know, if there is a problem and we think differently, maybe there's a perspective that we're coming from and how we bring those perspectives together. And every problem we must find ways of solution. The solution must coincide with our aims and our objectives and the values. Yeah. So whatever problem we're facing, we've got to think about the solutions. And I think we are at a stage now where we've got to look at those solutions in order to kind of like go back to the root of our value. And that's fundamental to us here. We always got to go back to the root of our values. Yeah. And that value is that, yes, we cannot move away and discharge our responsibility towards our parents, but we've got to find the solutions in fulfilling that responsibility and the duties. And that could happen in various different means and modes here, because we're living in a very complex reality now, because all of us have different circumstances, but we can't move away from our responsibility. And I also believe that there is a lack of education in our communities, because these subjects are not discussed and talked about. There's other national curriculums are poured into the schools and that, which kind of gears our children towards a certain way, our teenagers.
Individualism.
Individualism. We have to accept that, you know, certain concepts are probably not compatible with us, yeah, and we have to be firm in that. We have to understand that. Now, I've always believed in the village, looking after the extended families, all the extended family in a modern way, in a modern context. And look how we communicate in now, yeah. How many times we have communicated with our extended family members? Everyone's distancing themselves, so all the problem is on the individual or on one particular person. So every problem will have a solution, and that's what we're here. We're here to make it easy for everyone through Easy Talk, so that we can talk serious stuff with a bit of humor as well. Those of you who are very, very new to Easy Talk, this is what we've been doing. We're not actually enemies of each other, when we're talking or trying to kind of make points on that, but we're giving different perspective, trying to reflect on and try and bring you onto our core values. And our core values are very simple. Everyone knows what our core values are. Easy Talk. And inshallah, on that particular note, I've got to say, yeah, it was a good show, and we still want to make it a good show. We want to continue with a good show. And don't forget, today's stat is 10,612 people have lost their life. The coronavirus is serious. Please do exercise your responsibility, and also do research, learn more, study more. Use this opportunity to go back and do self-reflection in that, yeah, because, and also last point I want to make is a lot of people are wasting their time, because sometimes when you've got so much time, you don't know what to do with it. And if you spend that time wasting time on unnecessary social media stuff, that's not going to improve you or your spirituality or your intellect or whatever, yeah, then there is another big problem now, because we've got so much time that we don't know what to do with, because we're in the lockdown. Let's look at productive time of use. Let's look at how we can improve, and inshallah, Easy Talk, we're around and we'll make it easy for everyone.
Inshallah. Okay, jazakumullah khair. Final message, brothers and sisters: share the page, like the page, follow the page, let people know we'll be back next Sunday, inshallah. We want more interaction from you guys. Don't let us three take over. It is your show as well. So salam from me.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah from me.
And Assalamu alaikum from Grey Fox.
Grey Fox? Wait,
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox.
Grey Fox, honestly.
All right, Silver Fox. Yeah,
genetically modified fox.
Yeah.
But I prefer Professor Grey.
Okay. Yeah,
oh, good. Oh, yes.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah. Well, if you think that's
Professor Gravy Grey.
Hey?
Professor Gravy Gray.
Gravy.
No, I like the other one. I like
No, just let's keep it Professor Gray.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Okay, brothers and sisters, take care. And inshallah, we'll see you next week. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.